Hey, look, it's you. I know you. I know, and you too. I know you. It's been a hot minute. You need to grab a beverage, and we'll have a talk about what's going on. Stand by. Everybody, welcome back to Mrs. RATTLECAN'S house. I am James, and man, it has been quite some time, hasn't it? I believe it was 2020 in the spring when the world decided to just go insane that we last posted something, but fear not, we have been busy. I'm going to catch you up on one particular project, and that is the sheds. You may remember way back in 2017 when we purchased this property, it came with 3 red barns, is the term that my wife used to describe those storage sheds, and she did not like them.
I hate them.
She really did not like them.
I hate them. I hate all of them.
To the point where we knew we were going to eventually have to do something. They were, I don't know, 15, 20, maybe even older than that. Was quite a bit of rot that was associated with them, but you can cover up a lot of things with paint. So I think a year ago, might have been 2 years ago, Mrs. RATTLECAN decided to paint the sheds. Well, hello, Reptar. Are you coming to visit? Come on. Come on. Come on. Well, okay. He's kind of trying, not really. So Mrs. RATTLECAN painted them and didn't really change her feelings. So the plans were made that if we were going to replace them, we'd had numerous discussions about what we were going to do. The idea was that you get rid of the 3 sheds and you place them with a single shed. Now, I am currently enrolled full-time as a precision machinist student at my local community college. Hashtag not sponsored. And I just kind of poo-pooed the idea because, I'm busy. And so what Mrs. RATTLECAN did was she contacted a shed manufacturer, and they had an online designer where you could pick the size of your shed, the shape of your shed, the features of your shed, the colors of your shed, the inside accoutrement of your shed. And she designed something, and we looked at it and talked about it, and we changed a thing here and changed a thing there. And then we submitted that and got a quote. And the quote wasn't quite as horrible as we thought. Are you coming up? Come on. Okay. Just don't lick the microphone. Welcome to my world. So, if you could, push my microphone away. That's good. Oh, great. Come on. Put that away. There. Stand there. Everybody say hi to Reptar. Look up here. There you go. Almost in focus. So, we got in contact, got the bid, and we decided to press forward. So we had some things on our end we had to take care of. First of all, we had to demolish the 3 sheds that were existent there. And you can get a lot of things done with coffee and donuts. So I invited a couple of friends over, and we just had a great big destruction party. We had a dumpster deposited in the driveway. I believe that was a 40 cubic yard dumpster. I don't know. It was big. It smelled like dirt, but it could have smelled like poop, so I guess that's all right.
That's why we keep Alex around.
And we proceeded to tear down the 3 sheds. There was quite a bit of rot that we had found. And we got them down to the floorboard. We got one of them all the way down. And then We still had the floors left on 2 of them. Yes, I know you're very happy. So we then removed those floors, and I kept some of those pressure treated 2x4s just in case, and that may have been a good call. We did find some interesting things underneath there. One of them is we found about 11.7 cubic yards of half-eaten walnut shells, and apparently the squirrel that many walnuts will kill if you eat. So we had a mummified squirrel carcass. We actually found some other bone parts, probably a possum. Yeah, I mean, literally just like 2 garbage cans full of walnut shells. Oh, and by the way, we also found a 7-foot by 10-foot by 6-inch thick concrete pad. I know, I was very upset that one of the sheds had been resting upon. So we had already, Jill had already walked through we had to get a zoning certificate from the township. Then we had to get a building permit from the county. First attempt didn't go through because apparently, I don't know if it's limited to size or if it's just a new regulation or what, but you can't put a 12 by 24 foot shed on a gravel base. It has to have a foundation. Who knew? So once we found that out, then we had to push the shed out into the yard, which is fine because the original sheds were actually on the lot line, and the new guidance is that you have to have a 5-foot setback from the property line. Well, we've also got a utility easement through there, so we decided to push it out. I think we went 8 or 9 feet off of each of the property lines because we wanted it to be easier. If they have to come through and work on those power lines, I don't want them crawling on top of stuff. So we got that taken care of. Then finally came the day, or one of the days. The first real day was once we had figured out how we wanted this building aligned on the property. They came out and they sunk 25 40, I think they were anywhere from 42 to 46 inch deep 12-inch round holes in our ground, and that's what they were planning on doing. The next day the inspector comes out because you got to get the county involved. So then he's looking at the prints and he's got a measuring tape out and he's got a funny look on his face, and I'm starting to get afeared. And he looks at me and he's looking at the plan. He's looking at the plan, looking at holes, and he finally goes, "How many holes are there on the ground?" And I counted through 25. He says, "How many holes are there on this print?" And I look. There's 30 holes on the print. And he told me, he says, "Listen, I'm not an engineer. I can't tell you what works, can't tell you what doesn't work. What I can tell you is that what is on the print does not match what is on the ground. And those two things have to match." So he says you can either move the holes or you can submit a revised print to the county. So I contacted the people who were building this for us and set them into panic mode alpha because they did not want to hear that we had failed an inspection. And when I had looked at this, I said, "I think there is a miscount." And the guy says, "I'm going to get right back to you." And he called me back in 5 minutes. And he said, "I don't know why there's 30 holes on that print. We don't do 30 holes. I can't tell you why that's there. Now, somebody in-house should have caught that. Somebody in the field should have caught that, but they didn't. I'm going to fix this." Okay, fix it. So I think 4, 5, 6 days go by, and we get a package in the mail. We get a phone call, and Jill's the point of contact, or Mrs. Rattlecan, as most of you may know her. She's the point of contact for this project because she's driving it. So she gets the call that they're going to come out and re-inspect on Monday, and you will have a priority mail package on Friday night. And if it doesn't show up on Friday night, I will drive it to you from Columbus, which is 2 hours away. I will drive it to you on Saturday so that you can have it in hand for the inspector on Monday. And what we had not known, because we were waiting to get this paperwork so that we could go back to the zoning for the township, get that approved, walk it back down to the county, get that approved. They had done all of that. Their customer recovery skills on point, because they know people a lot better than we know people. And so the papers that we got had already been pushed through, and had already been approved and all of that stuff. So Monday came, hey, the holes on the ground match the holes on the plan. Life is good. And as he's leaving, he says, now, when they get done, he said, before they put the top on the floor, that's when we need to have our next inspection. And I'm kind of curious, kind of like the look that Reptar has going on right now. I said, next inspection. He says, yeah, we have to inspect the floor before they put the top on. Okay. So he leaves. I call the guy back and say, hey, just want to let you know we passed the inspection. And he said, once they complete this next step before they put the floor on, that's when we can call them out and have them come out and inspect again. And just have this little bit of silence. And he goes, well, I guess they're doing it out there then. Apparently, I don't know if this is something they're rolling out, if this is something that they have just started doing. But he's like, we'll make it happen. Yes, they're going to make it happen. Yeah, I know. I know, it's your hat. So then they come out. The guys build the floor on this, and not short, not a very long amount of time. I was gone to school, so luckily I have this, or this, whichever direction it ends up, a little bit of sped up footage, so that you can see what went on. And it went well. The inspector came out, I don't know, a couple days later, and said, you're good to go. And then they had offloaded all the materials from the truck. Well, then the weekend was coming up. There was rain coming up. So we were delayed, I don't know, another 5 or 6 days maybe in trying to get that. And then when they showed up, again, boom, off to the races. This shed is made, the panels are fabricated off-site. So they show up with a big F-650, with a great big flatbed on the back of it, and all the walls are built. So they throw the floor down, and then an hour after they get here, the walls are up. And 2 hours after they get here, the framing for the roof is up. And within about 4 hours, they're done.
I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I want to visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I want to visit. Are you alive? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living nice. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be liked by everybody in sight. But trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you can find the light, alright. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing?
So now suddenly Mrs. Rattlecan's ugly sheds that she hated are now one shed and not ugly, and she does not hate them. There is a plaque on the inside of this. Our house has a serial number. I guess I should say our shed. Our shed has a serial number and a plaque that's got the company name on it, and Mrs. Rattlecan thought it was a good idea that we should sign that. And so we did, and as we're looking around, her words were, "This is beyond my expectations." And at that part, my little heart went pity-pat. I have already said I'm somewhat ambivalent about this whole project, but when I was able... What are you doing? Go lick that somewhere else. Ugh. I felt the same way. This was pretty spot on. Now, I do have a couple of things. One, I'm going to guess that they fabricate some of their windows, or maybe all of their windows, in-house. And the reason that I say that, it's not rocket surgery here. They're single pane windows. They just have a lattice thing applied to it. We're not double pane, vacuum sealing, argon filled, all that kind of weird sciencey stuff. They're just windows to let light in. And there was an inordinate amount of silicone, fingerprints, smears, big blobs, all over them. And so there are 2 windows in the side door. There's a window in the front door. There's a transom window on one side of the front. There are 2, I don't know if you want to call them double hungs or not. They do the slidey thing with a little latch so that you can open it and get some air in. There's another transom window on the north wall, and there's another transom window in the upper level. And so I spent a day with a razor blade and some window cleaner getting the windows clean. Is that is it a deal breaker if you're gonna do something like this? Probably not. Is it something that QC should have taken care of as these windows are leaving? Absolutely so, because anything worth doing is worth doing well. So that was an issue. And then one other issue that I had is that on the bottom of where the upper transom window was, I could see a pretty big gap. And that gap is where the transom window meets the roof. And there's flashing up underneath there. This is not built to housing codes, okay? I don't know what code it's built to, but it's obviously not to the level that you would weather tight a house, but there was a gap, and that side of that shed happens to face where our storms come from a majority of the time. So if we're going to get a hard driving wind, it's going to hit the side of that, and it's going to creep right up underneath that flashing and go onto the wood. Now, I'm not a smart guy, you guys know that. Wood and water, no bueno. So I took about 3 tubes of caulk and sealed all of those holes up. I found another area up on the top where there was a big gap coming in. We understand we're not sleeping in here. This is not, weather tight against an Ohio winter, but wind and rain combined can do some pretty interesting things with water. And if you keep the water from getting in, hopefully your structure will last a lot longer. But as you can see, we have a single door on the front. We have a double door on the side, and that is so we can pull implements in there. We've got a yard tractor, we've got a snow blower, and all the power stuff that you do for doing yards and stuff is going to go on that side. Over on the other side is kind of the garden end of things. We are going to have an area in the garage for the stuff that you use every day, for the raised beds on the side, for the ornamental beds around, if you're having to deadhead stuff or harvest or, play, whack-a-mole. But then the other stuff, that's all going to be in the shed. So, was it a great project? I think the best part of the project is I didn't have to do hardly anything. Except tear down 3 sheds, and I had to move a bunch of concrete pavers. So that's about 2,000 pounds of concrete pavers I had to move. And what else did I have to do? I thought I was going to have to chase a possum out of one of those holes before they got filled in, because he went wiggling along like possums do, and he disappeared down a hole. And I thought, great. So in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to extract a possum from a hole. Luckily, he did it himself. I didn't have to worry about that. But then I just took a quarter. I just took a round over bit, and I broke the edge on the benches and the shelves. Just because if you're putting stuff up and down, you're going to catch stuff on there. The shelves are made out of OSB, which I'm not a fan of anyways. But even that plywood, given enough time, if you're brushing up against it, you'll start to chip it. So we thought we'd kind of beat it to the punch and round that over. So that was the best part, at least for me, is that I had so little involvement with it. It was nice to have pros come in that know what they're doing, get it done. And now Mrs. Rattlecan likes to sit out on the patio, which, by the way, will be another video because we did something with the awning. The thing I used to call the circus tent, that's no more. So she will sit out there with a spunky Merlot and gaze upon the backyard with Mrs. Rattlecan's new shed. So anyways, that's the shed project. If you got questions, let me know. You can put them in the comment section down beneath the sermon notes. If there's anything you want to know, we'll oblige you as best as we can. Anyways, that's what's going on. Thanks for hanging in there. Hopefully we'll start to push a little bit more content now that the world has kind of settled down, I guess. Well, for the moment at least. And then, look for another video on replacing the circus tent. Anyways, I'm James. This is Mrs. Rattlecan's house. She's very happy with her sheds. You guys have a good one. Cheers.
If you enjoyed watching this episode of Mrs. Rattlecan's house, consider checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and to get the latest updates on our progress, like us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Perhaps we should have some wine.